To his credit, my father saved us from that cliché photo that is so easily attributed to the dominance of Calvin Klein's notion of casual wear in the early 90s, as well as to Levi's introduction of red tab white blouses. Also, if there were any photos of my mother's pregnant belly, they were hidden. Perhaps something in my birth was the ultimate bargaining chip for my mother, rendering all her arguments impossible to refute. It was only once I sprang out, and the white lightning bolt scar that bisected her belly shrank to less than an inch in width, that my father consented to have us photographed. There was no need for pictures of people beneath There was no need of pictures of people beneath people's skin. If my father thought a particular cuteness distinguished us, it was not overly evident, and it certainly didn't result in him wanting to stockpile an arsenal of portraits of us. "Oh, Stanny, it's September again already. I'm going to book our family portrait," Mum would say. She would have already booked it, would in fact have booked it in June. As fall always lops off summer, the portrait was as inevitable. The booking agent at the other end of the line would have to turn her yard-long calendar pages forward once for every week, more than 12 times, bunching the paper at the spiral while suppressing a laugh at, "Do you have any openings September the 15th, say at 3:15? Surely their services were so coveted as to be booked up until the millennium and beyond. It was as if she were patenting an idea she had yet to have. "No," the receptionist would always say, because perversion is part of all administrative life. "It can't be before 4 o'clock on September the 15th. How about the 16th? Never did this fail to put my mother into a tizzy. According to all evidence, that was her preferred state. "Well, could you put us on the waiting list, and if any openings occur, let us know." "I'm afraid you'll have to keep calling us. We can't make outgoing calls except the day before the booking, the reminder call." This, if nothing else, filled the hole in my mother's schedule caused by 100 Huntley Street. Couldn't we just bring a few changes of clothes, take several pictures a year, and have done with? Was there no other life preserver that could be thrown to my mother to get her through the dry stretch between June birthday and Christmas? Granted, she was wise enough to stage the photo in the middle to pace out the year's bright points. Her children were born in the spring, but that just reminded her how old she was getting. If you forgot to leave your normal compassion outside on the sidewalk and pick up later on your way to encounter semi-normal people, and made the mistake of asking in July, "What's wrong?" only to have her say, "Oh, I'm just praying the photo turns out right this year," in a way that you have to respond, and so you say, "I'm sure you don't have to worry." So she goes into the necessity of worry in our daily lives, how without her worry, none of us would have a spoon to put in our mouths or a stitch to wear. "What are you doing to keep me from worrying? What are you going to do to look your best for this picture?" she would ask. Wavy picture frames may have helped. The traditional straight ones drew attention to our inability to line up the pictures. Our crooked pictures seemed to make my sister's crooked teeth even worse. Each misalignment took its inspiration from one of her teeth. Her dental drift gave looking at each subsequent year of photos the pleasure of operating a flipbook. Her dental drift gave looking at each subsequent picture the pleasure of operating a flipbook. Kay's teeth made her look illiterate. Then there was Mum's cleavage. You'd think we got a discount from Sears for each freckly inch of boob she brandished. Chin and breast so often juxtaposed, a pineapple and a dual melon base would be all that would be needed for an accurate fruit rendering of her. Through a fairly average morning haze, my sister Kay would likely address greetings to it. Dandruff on Kay's navy blazers. She wore navy blazers and pants with a brown shirt for her personal uniform for the better part of a decade, upping the size on an as-needed basis. In one of the photos was our happiness. In none of the photos was our happiness conclusively a sham. We lacked the familiar sedated look of having all drunk the Kool-Aid of nuclear unity, a kind of we're so happy we could sleep, drunk on fulfillment that is the zenith of family portrait photography. It was the shared look of surprise that brought out a family resemblance among us. The car ride over was not long enough to fortify us against the torture of being documented for posterity. Contemplating posterity would tear us apart. Something in the flash always started us. Gave our smiles rigor mortis, our eyebrows veering towards fear. Never could we be less assured of being unnoticed than in front of a paid cameraman. Year after year, we showed that we hadn't gotten any more comfortable being seen.